Composers invite audiences to examine the complexity of human nature by portraying both individual and collective experiences that may seem unfamiliar on the surface, yet ultimately reveal valuable truths. George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984, written in 1949, and Czesław Miłosz's poem Song of a Citizen, written in 1943, explore societies marked by oppression, violence, and the eradication of individuality during and post-World War II. These experiences may seem foreign at first glance, because they represent a world far removed from what audiences are used to, but nevertheless provide insights into how relationships, resisting control, and maintaining hope are essential to human nature's innate desire for connection and freedom. The imposition of a collective homogeneity and the eradication of individuality, while seemingly unfamiliar to contemporary audiences, exposes how easily a collective mode of behavior and thought can coercively control a population, warping human identity. George Orwell, writing in 1948 after witnessing the rise of totalitarian regimes such as Nazi Germany and Stalinist Russia, constructed 1984 as a warning against political manipulation. Through the parallelism of who controls the past controls the future, who controls the present controls the past, he demonstrates how by dictating what is true, the party removes any possibilities for individual opinions, identity, memory, or interpretations. This erosion of truth and distorted freedom reveals to audience how crucial the inherent human desire for truth and identity is. Orwell intensifies this idea through the party's psychological manipulation, captured in Winston's reflection, "If you want to keep a secret, you must also hide it from yourself." This paradox illustrates that by intruding into one's mental and psychological life, this creates a tension where citizens are forced to police their own subconsciousness, revealing to modern-day readers the harsh reality of the human nature of conformity, despite the human desire for identity. Similarly, Czesław Miłosz's poem, shaped by the trauma of World War II and later Soviet domination, wrote poetry that reflected the psychological toll of political oppression on the human spirit. The poem opens with the omniscient tone, "I, a poor man, see a multitude of white-bellied nations without freedom. I have seen the fall of states and the destruction of peoples, the flight of kings and emperors, the powers of tyrants." This individual perspective suggests a world shaped by violence and subjugation, where citizens are vulnerable to oppressive forces. This reveals how easily populations can be coerced into conformity, despite their innate human desire for justice. Therefore, both texts analyze the loss of individuality through the enforced collective conformity placed on citizens, displaying humanity's timeless need for identity and autonomy. Despite the distressing positions one might find themselves in, humanity's need for human connection through their individual and collective experiences reveals an inherent beauty of life and a renewed sense of hope to all readers. Orwell, disillusioned by the betrayal of socialism and the manipulation of ideology in the 20th century, emphasized the power of human connection as a form of resistance against dehumanization. In 1984, Winston's relationship with Julia becomes a symbolic resistance to the party, with Winston declaring, "At the sight of the words 'I love you,' the desire to stay alive had welled up in him," revealing how love gives Winston the hope of survival, exhibiting how emotional bonds restore humanity by giving life meaning beyond fear and submission. Orwell deepens this theme through Winston's recognition that the proles were loyal to one another, contrasting to the party's enforced collectivism. This juxtaposition to the party's members who existed in isolation reveals that maintaining genuine human connection is the foundation sustaining our humanity. Yet, Orwell ultimately demonstrates, through Winston's desperate tone as he begs, "Do it to Julia," severing his final bond of human connection, revealing to modern-day audiences the tragic reality that when one's human connection is destroyed, so too is their unique self. Meanwhile, Czesław Miłosz's poem, shaped by exile in World War II in Poland, sought to affirm that the hope of beauty and meaning persist even in the aftermath of destruction. His use of natural visual imagery in his romantic contemplation of a starry sky, of non-Euclidean space, of amoebas and their pseudopodia, of tall mounds of termites, reflects an enduring human impulse to seek beauty and connection to the world beyond political turmoil, finding solace and hope within both the simple and the complex. Miłosz portrays that despite humanity's violent behaviours, audiences are reminded that one's individual experiences can instead reflect awe and wonder, where the hopeful nature of humanity shows amid devastation. Furthermore, both texts reveal the power of relationships as they bind one's humanity, demonstrating how distant contexts exhibit the human nature of connection and its congruent hope. Ultimately, Orwell's 1984 and Miłosz's Song of a Citizen reveal how oppressive experiences, though unfamiliar at first glance, display profound insights into human nature. Through the techniques that expose manipulation and conformity, whilst also uncovering human connection and hope, both authors demonstrate that while political systems and parties may seek to erase individuality, humanity continues to strive for beauty, truth, freedom, and love. Furthermore, contemporary audiences are reminded that the preservation of human identity, both individual and collective, is central to the intrinsic nature of human existence.